we're discussing curbing anti-competitive conduct in UK labour markets, the recent Competition Market Authority, CMA, enforcement in creative and services industries. Hello and welcome to Crefovi's live webinar. I'm Annabelle Gauberti, the founding partner and managing partner of Crefovi. Today, we are addressing a critical and fast-evolving enforcement trend, which is the crackdown on anti-competition conduct in labour markets by the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, with increasing convergence at the EU and French levels. First, let's have a look at the legal framework, the labour market conduct and competition law. The prohibition on anti-competitive agreements under Chapter 1 of the UK Competition Act 1998, Article 101 of the TFEU, the Treaty for the Foundation of the European Union, and Article L 420 and 1 of the French Commercial Code apply not only to goods and services markets, but to labour markets as well. Agreements such as wage fixing or harmonization of freelance rates, no-poach or non-solicitation pacts, exchanges of sensitive pay data are now firmly treated as by-object infringements akin to price fixing or market sharing cartels. This interpretation is now transnationally embedded, not only in UK case law, but increasingly in EU and French enforcement. So let's have a look at the UK case of the sports broadcasting decision. On the 21st of March 2025, the CMA issued a major infringement decision against BBC, BT, ITV, IMG and Sky. The key facts were that 15 infringements occurred between 2014 and 2021. The collusive exchanges of freelancer rates information via email, WhatsApp meetings. A £4.2 million fine was delivered to Sky. Received full immunity because Sky actually was a whistleblower with the CMA, the Competition and Market Authority. They whistled the blower. And therefore, that's a type A leniency that they were managed to take advantage of. WhatsApp chats alone were enough to establish unlawful coordination. This was the CMA's first formal labour market decision, and it sets the benchmark for future enforcement in labour markets. Now, another case is in the UK is the non-sports TV production case. A separate case opened in 2023 involving production houses including Sister, Hat Trick, Hartswood Films and Tiger Aspect. Overclosed in March 2025 for administrative prioritization, the CMA explicitly stated that it reserves the right to reopen proceedings. This signals the CMA's intention to continue policing labour practices across all segments of the creative sector. Another ongoing case in the UK by the CMA is the fragrance supplier case. It's still active and it targets fragrance giants such as Firmenich, Givaudan and IFF. So the scope is that there's a coordination on pricing and access to fragrance markets. And from January 2024, there's been an expansion into no-poach and recruitment restrictions. And so Symrise has now been removed. Symrise is also a big player in the fragrance industry. Symrise, and it's been removed in May 2025, effect of reprioritization. So the CMA is collaborating with the European Commission, the US Department of Justice and Swiss authorities, underscoring this is a cross-border enforcement priority in the fragrance industry. A statement of objections may be issued imminently by the CMA, and the statement of objections is actually a list of all the wrongdoings under competition law that the CMA thinks that these fragrance companies have been doing. So let's wait and see in relation to that case. Now, in EU and France, there's also a trend towards labour market enforcement. EU and French authorities are converging with the UK authorities. The European Commission has in particular its department DJ Comp for competition, has issued policy statements and commenced inquiries into wage suppression and no-poach behavior within cross-border joint ventures and franchises. And in France, the Autorité de la Concurrence, or a French competition authority, has started preliminary investigations on Article L420-1 of the Code de Commerce. It has clarified that no-poach agreements and salary fixing between competitors are illegal. Agreements between franchisees or between companies contracting the same freelance workforce, for example, VFX studios, dubbing agencies, etc., are within scope. So this growing trend confirms that labour market enforcement is not just a UK issue, but a pan-European compliance concern. I would go even as far as saying that it's actually a global concern, because the US authorities also are doing a lot of work in enforcing competition law in labour markets. So why creative and services industries are targeted? Well, these sectors rely heavily on freelance and flexible labor, and they use informal hiring and rate settling mechanisms. They tend to benchmark through peer exchanges and shared rate cards, and they are historically under-regulated in labor matters. So this makes them inherently prone to coordination risks, even when unintentional. So what are the legal risks for employers in terms of enforcement exposure? The risks, which are quite high, indeed, include the Competition Markets Authority in the UK and the European Commission in the EU, dawn raids and data seizures, financial penalties of up to 10% of global turnover, direct disqualification orders, class actions or damage claims from workers. The legal and reputational risks are particularly acute in media, advertising, fashion, film and TV, gaming and visual effects. So how to build a compliant labour market strategy? The practical steps are to ban pay data sharing across competitors, remove no-poach and rate harmonization clauses from contracts, establish HR compliance protocols, train hiring managers, producers and executives, audit legacy behavior, consider leniency if your firm may have been involved. To conclude, labour market competition enforcement is intensifying across the UK, EU and France, and also the US. The CMA's actions are coordinated internationally. Creative and service industries must adapt fast. Okay, that's it from me today. Thank you for your attention. Talk to you soon. Bye.